Hello, my lovely anatomists and physiologists. This is the last video in this particular playlist. We are still dipping our toes here into chapter 19, looking at chapter 19.2, and we're looking here at a diagnostic tool called the electrocardiogram, which can be abbreviated either EKG or ECG. So the K there is coming from a different spelling of cardio, spelled with a K instead of with a C. Now, this is going to be an important diagnostic tool. It's giving you information about the pacemaker system, the electricity, I guess we could think of that, of the heart, how we're doing in terms of depolarization of the different chambers, and that's giving us information about how effective that heart is at pumping that blood, helping to identify where there might be some areas of concern. We're going to graph this out, but first let's define the different sections we look for in a graph. So we're going to have what's described as your P wave, and this is giving you information about the depolarization of the atria. And then we get what's called the QRS complex, and that's telling us about the depolarization of the ventricles. And then we have what's called the T wave. And this is going to tell us about the repolarization of the ventricles. And we're just going to do a real light look at this. So we're not going to go real detailed. I'm going to draw a graph. So I have X and Y axis. And on my Y axis, I'm going to label this in millivolts. And we can start at 0, and we can put our 0 kind of like in the middle of the y-axis there. And what we're going to see happening is we go a straight line at 0, and then do like a little bump up. That's your P wave. Come back to 0, and then do a little dip down, and it's pointed. And then keep going way up high to a top peak, and then do a point back down, come to 0. And then we do another like little hill and then back to 0. And you can see mine got a little wobbly there. So let's look at our labels. This first bump was our P wave. That first divot down was the Q. That high peak is the R. And that other second little point down is the S. So that's our QRS complex. And then that last little bump there was our T wave. Okay, and you've seen this, especially, you know, on those heart monitors on a TV show. When you have somebody in the hospital, you always see this kind of graphical representation. Now, you can look at what are called segments or what are called intervals. When you are looking at segments, you have regions between two waves. So that's the space in between. And then when you have intervals, you have a segment plus one or more waves. Now this information is included in your text. So if you want a little bit more information on the EKG, just for your own information, please take a look there. And that finishes us on this section. So as always, take care of yourselves and each other.